I want to share with you footage from our recent fishing trip to Marine Area 9 where we hooked 3 species of salmon. You know, we followed a particular plan with the tides, and we had some things that really worked out for us well and some things that didn't.
This guy's just cold, right? Oh, you're right over. I got a fish right there.
It's so important to start any fishing trip on the Puget Sound or most other bodies of saltwater as well with a careful review of the tide and currents. You need that just to get your boat in the water and launch and make sure you have enough water wherever you're launching, but also every place that you aim to fish will tend to fish better on one tide or the other. In this case, we wanted to fish around Point No Point. We had a little bit of ebb tide left, so we got our lines down northwest of Point No Point after the moochers that are around that area, more towards Skunk Bay. When you have an ebb that's working its way from east to west across a point or a structure like a bar, then you're going to find that it fishes better on the west side of that structure. We got our trip started right around sunrise, and we hooked a pink salmon pretty early on. It was a beautiful fish, really nice size, and we thought, let's kick this back because we're gonna get a couple of Chinook, a couple of coho, so we didn't want to take a pink home, even though we love pink salmon, and there is a lot of pink salmon headed towards the Puget Sound, over 4 million, and there's gonna be some awesome pink fishing. They're already being caught from CQ all the way into Marine Area 10, and it shouldn't be long before we'll have them coming up the rivers and really taking over the fishing. You know, when the pink salmon are in Puget Sound, you almost can't get through them to hook anything else. As the current really slowed down, that ebb that was going east to west past Point No Point towards Skunk Bay, as it really slowed down, you know, we were able to troll both directions, and we hooked our first Chinook going west to east in this case, so against the last little bit of ebb as we were trolling back and forth around Skunk Bay.
Oh, that's a Chinook.
And it's kind of a weird hookup because I saw it come to the surface and it wasn't that big of a Chinook, maybe in that 6 to 8 pound range, but it felt really heavy. So that tells me that you know, I'm guessing it was hooked in a weird spot. You know, my when I run these anchovy and helmets, I have my trailer hook usually running an inch or two behind the tail of the anchovy. Sometimes when you got that long trailer, same goes with hoochies, you can hook them in some weird places outside their mouth as they're, you know, the fish gets up really close to your bait and they get hooked by that trailer whipping around, which is the idea. But sometimes you hook them in a place where they feel heavier than what they really are, and they get off easier, which is what happened. I kind of got this fish to the surface and it flopped around for a little bit and then popped off. You know, on this trip in general, that anchovy outfished everything. It outfished the spoons, it outfished, you know, it outfished the spin fish loaded with some scent, it outfished the hoochie with a fillet in it. You know, I'm fishing a lot for Chinook in the interior Puget Sound, getting closer to August. You know, you fish a lot differently than when you're targeting ocean fish. You know, when I go out to Westport, you know, later this week, my spoon game is probably going to be #1. It's going to hook a lot of Chinook. But interior Puget Sound didn't hook as many, and this is because you know, as they get closer to their staging, metabolically they slow down. They're not as bitey when scent is not involved. So the advantage goes to the hoochie, the ace high fly with a fillet in it. The advantage goes to the spin fish. The advantage goes to a running bait if you're able to keep it away from the dogfish. This ended up being just a really nice fish. It peeled out 350 feet of line, and you know, that's kind of my idea. When I get a solid hookup like this, I feel it's a nice weighty Chinook salmon. You know, that rod is pinned down, or in some cases way out as it heads to the surface. You know, I want to back that drag off just a little bit because I want that fish to run. I want it to run, get tired out. I have a lot of success landing fish doing that. So this fish pulled out 350 feet of line, and then you know, I tightened down a little bit, brought it in. It was nice and tired.
Put the film on, huh? Hey, 151. That's definitely a nicer fish.
I was able to add a little bit of thumb pressure, which is, you know, can be an important technique for getting that fish into the net, make it really easy on the netter.
Nice big old wild Chinook, 16, 17 pounds. Took an anchovy in a helmet, 130 feet of wire, near point, no point. Beautiful fish, but big old adipose, so it's going back.
All right, now we didn't want to fight the flood current anymore as it was picking up strength. We picked up. We didn't want to troll around point, no point. Big crazy currents can happen right around point, no point. So we picked up, ran to the other side as the flood was coming in, and so now we're trolling kind of south towards Pilot Point in 90 to 120 feet of water. We just kept hooking juvenile Chinook though in that 16 to 20 inch range. I didn't want to hook any more sublegals, and so I kind of moved to plan B on my trip plan, which was to go over to Possession Bar. I couldn't believe how much bait was on Possession. I mean, there was a ton of boats for good reason on the west side near the end of the ebb, still ebbing over there. You know, this bite's awesome. When you know, whenever you take your rod off the clip, when you're downrigger fishing, always let it come up to the surface before reeling it in. Don't reel it in while it's just sitting there, because this is often what happens. It floats right through the water column, bam, hook up on a coho, sometimes even a Chinook, and you know, we were able to get that boat, and that was a hatchery coho, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, the color, you see it coming up with a white mouth. Down and then you lift back up. And see how easily our net's still gonna be a hatchery net. Still gonna be a hatchery.
And there was so much bait. There was bait dancing in the water. There was bait. You could literally see hundreds of bait fish schooled up at the surface. You could see birds coming in, picking them off. Salmon probably chasing them from the below. Probably coho. There was a lot of coho in the top of the water column.
This bait. Look at this bait, Dad. Over up. It's crazy. I don't think it's that big. Off the foot. Come on, take it. Take it up.
So we're just watching all the bait. Eventually, here we go. We get our hatchery Chinook. Nothing, no great size to boast about. Maybe 7-8 pounds. You know, definitely small fish. Very mature Chinook. Had big milk sacs when we cut it, but yeah, it you know, it put up a nice fight. It was plenty of fight, plenty of spunk in it, and we got that into the net without too much drama.
You have to get it to the surface and then back up right in by the point. You're gonna have to lift him back up. Alright, you can't, you gotta point down in the water. Okay, up, lift. Yeah. Yes. I like it.
Last thing I want to show you here, probably my favorite one of my favorite bites I've ever had, which is I'm dropping down to 120 feet on the downrigger, and somewhere around 100 feet it comes off the cliff, and this Chinook just absolutely smokes me. I don't know how fast that thing was swimming, but it took me, count it, 12 seconds of frantic reeling before I felt the fish. It was absolutely smoked my rod and swam right at the boat. I'm feeling, oh, what the heck? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's a nice shrimp hit right. You're right over. I got a fish right there. Matter of fact, when it loaded up, that rod was right behind the boat. And then on top of that, this boat was coming in from the side, about to troll right over the back of me. And so I'm trying to horse this fish to the side, keep it out of their lines. And I probably should have let it have a little bit more room to run after the boat went by. It kind of took me off my game, and we lost it right there at the surface. I was dropping, I came off the cliff, and I had to feel for a mile to catch up to it. Well, hope you enjoyed this video, learned something, or just got entertained by it. You know, lots more trip footage to share. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, lots more coming.